everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cubica AMF Tech Tip Podcast. This is a weekly podcast where we take you on a journey through the fascinating world of bowling technology and beyond. I am your host, Orly, and as always, I have a guest with us today, David J., Max Training Specialist. David, welcome to the show.
Orly, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, I'm excited about today. I know you want to talk price evaluation mode. I would try to explain it, but I'm sure I'm going to confuse people. So I'm going to let you kind of explain what it is and kind of let them know how they can set that up and make sure it's correct for their center.
Absolutely. And it possibly is one of the most confusing things that we do when we first set up the way the center is going to operate in center setup. Price evaluation mode is really exactly what it says. It's how Conquer evaluates the pricing that it's going to use based on your price keys. Especially when we have dynamic pricing, where we might change the price of our game or our hour at a certain time during the day. Say maybe we change rates at 5 o'clock. This is how Conquer evaluates how Conquer is going to charge the customer when we cross over that imaginary timeline. So in price evaluation mode, which as I said is in center setup under the prices tab, we have two different evaluation modes, game and time. But within game and time, we have two more specific, and they are pre-assigned mode and post-assigned mode. When you think pre-assigned mode, think about if your center is still charging, doing post-pay and just turning on the lanes and paying for charging for whatever games or time are actually bowled after the conclusion, or also pre-assigned, which would be almost like pre-authorizing. I'm going to link a card to your lane, and I'm going to add an hour to your lane. The lane will shut off, and then you'll just pay me when you're done. It allows for opening tabs and things like that and linking to a card. Inside of both pre-assigned and post-assigned, we have two settings. One is selling time, and the other one is opening time. Selling time is going to be charging whatever the rate is at the time of payment. So if I am in pre-assigned mode and I am at selling time, I'm going to pre-assign the hour of bowling, but I'm going to be charged whatever the rate is when I actually pay. And then opening time would work where I am being charged whatever the rate is when I actually open the lane. So if I open the lane at 4:30 and my price changes at 5 and I get an hour, if I'm in opening time, I'm going to be charged whatever the rate was when the lane was opened. If I'm in selling time, I'm going to be charged whatever the rate was when the lane was closed.
Okay.
And then under game mode only, we have two other options that are proportional and proportional start time. And those are a little more confusing, but proportional start time is if I started a game prior to the rate changing, then I get the previous rate. All I have to do is start at a game. If I'm under actual proportional in game bowling, if I've completed 5 frames, then I get the cheaper price, or the earlier price, I get the earlier price. When we start going down to time bowling, we still have opening and selling. And here we also add proportional. And proportional here is exactly what you think it is. If I turn on a lane at 4:40 and my price changes at 5 and I am in proportional mode, then my customer is going to get charged, if you bought an hour of bowling, 20 minutes at the rate prior to 5 o'clock and 40 minutes at the rate after 5 o'clock. And that's how proportional would work.
All right.
These are not commonly used settings, but I will give you an example of a customer that recently called me for assistance with their reporting, not understanding why their time bowling that they only sold by the hour on their reports was looking like they were selling it by the minute. They had a $30 rate and a $35 rate, and it was coming out with all of these minutes, and they thought they were just charging at whatever the opening time was. And it turns out that they were set at proportional, and Concur was charging them for minutes prior to the rate change. So those are things that you can look at, and typically we'll see that centers have started at opening time, and they'll want to do some sort of change in their operations, and they'll want to start charging by selling time. So that really affects when you're adding time. Maybe I bought an hour at 4:30, and I got to pay whatever that rate was. But then when I want to add another hour at 5:30, I want to actually charge the going rate and not what the rate was, and have them grandfathered into that 4:30 rate.
All right. And I have a quick question for that. I mean, it's on subject with that. Is like, so if you're doing that, somebody comes in early and they're getting the cheaper rate, but then they stay longer. Is that something they should be posting somewhere, or should they let the customers know? Or do you have any recommendation on that?
I don't really see it posted often. That's a hard thing to write out,
Okay.
and have somebody read. It is a conversation that is very effective with your customer service people when the guest comes in, and it's getting close to that time change or rate change,
okay,
where we might be able to say, hey, your rate right now is X number of dollars per hour. The rate changes at 5 o'clock. So if you think that you might want to bowl more than an hour, the price goes up. You can get an hour at this rate, or if you think you might want to go longer, you can buy a second hour right now at the current rate. But if you buy it later, it'll be a different price. Just to make that clarification for the guests.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know that might have been a lot to take in, but the best part of it being on a podcast is you're able to go back and, start it all over and listen a couple times if you need to. So David, I appreciate that. But again, I know some of this stuff can be a little overwhelming, especially if you're new to a center. But again, that's why we're here. We're here to help you with topics like this. And if you're new to listening, make sure you're going back to listen to past episodes. David's been on many episodes, and some other great trainers and other staff here at Cubica AMF. And they make things a lot easier by doing these shows with us. So, David, I appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you very much. I always enjoy visiting with you and talking to our customers.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And everyone, until next time, that's going to be all on this episode of Tech Tip Podcast.